Russia and Iran are paying for America's wars in Afghanistan, in Iraq, and possibly in Iran. And there's no strategic or philosophical reason why they're making these wars other than the war industry in America controls the White House. Obama works for the war industry, and they need wars to keep profitable, and that's the only reason we're seeing this. And this is why China, Russia, and Iran, and these other countries are saying, wait a minute, we don't want to watch as this country, America, really with a horrible economy, huge debts. The only way they can extricate themselves out of their debt problem is to go into countries and commit genocide, or as they've done in Iraq, or support rogue states in the Mideast, you know, undocumented rogue nuclear countries in the Mideast that people object to. So this is what we're seeing. But I think the timetable is going to be a lot sooner than what Robert Fisk is suggesting, 2018. I think we're going to see things developing a lot quicker.
And what impact could the possible demise of the dollar as the world's reserve currency have on the U.S. economy? And can the U.S. do anything to prevent that happening?
Well, the U.S., remember, it's less than 5% of the world's population, and its economy is a large part of the global economy, but it's fueled almost entirely by debt. So if the U.S. economy were to disappear overnight, it wouldn't be as the catastrophe that some in the U.S. argue it might be. Yeah, sure, there would be dislocations in the near term. But look what happened in the scandal last year in Wall Street in 2008. That was completely fabricated by the folks on Wall Street to give themselves a huge bonus. You know, that was a fake, really, collapse that they engineered, and they engineered this rescue from the rest of the world to come bail them out in their bonuses. And the rest of the world is just saying, we're sick of your fake manipulation of your fake currency, your manipulation of the markets, your phony wars, and all the rest of it that goes with having the U.S. dollar as the world reserve currency. So the world is giving America a collective, I can't make the gesture here on television, but it involves the use of a single finger and an outreached arm with a bent elbow.
Thank you very much for your comments. That was Max Kaiser, activist and former stockbroker.
So basically, the world's giving the middle finger to America.
That's right.
That's what he's trying to say. And he's talking about that this country is fueled by debt, because for every dollar that they get from the Federal Reserve, they have to give it back at interest. Now, if you get that money from someone and you have to give it back, that's easy. But how do you give something back plus interest when you don't have that interest?
Mm-hmm.
So this is just double, and it keeps on and it's been doing that from the Great Depression, since money wasn't backed up by gold, you know. Yeah. So give me Zephaniah 1 and 18. And get Proverbs 29 too.
Zephaniah chapter 1 verse 18. Neither their silver nor their gold shall be able to deliver them in the day of the Lord's wrath.
That's right.
But the whole land shall be devoured by the fire, by the fire of his jealousy.
Right, the fire is the missiles. Go on.
For he shall make even a speedy riddance of all of them that dwell in that land.
So he's going to make a speedy riddance. He's going to rid all the people off that land in a speedily fashion. Okay, by the missiles. Yeah, 29 and 2.
Proverbs 29 verse 2. When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice.
So when the righteous are in authority, people are happy. People have jobs, people rejoice. Go on.
But when the wicked bear it rule, the people mourn.
And that proves that the white man's wicked, because who's in rulership? The white man. And are people happy?
Yeah.
Hell no. People are homeless. People are living in their cars, man.
His own people are homeless, right?
Huh?
His own people are homeless.
Yeah, his own people are homeless. So that shows that people mourn. People are angry, you know. And don't try to say Obama is the head, and he controls the world. He doesn't control shit, man. He's just a little puppet for the Rothschilds. So the wicked is the white man, because everyone's mourning, man. Everyone's out of jobs, the inflation, hyperinflation, all this shit, you know. And give me Proverbs 11 and 4.
Proverbs chapter 11 verse 4. The riches profit not, in the day of wrath.
Riches profit not in the day of wrath, man. Your riches, your money, that's not going to profit you in the day of the wrath of the Most High. Okay? Anything you do is not going to profit you, man. You know? Your money, that's not real money, you know? Go on.
But the righteous delivered from death.
Right, righteousness delivereth from death. Right, where's righteousness found? In the scriptures, the Holy Bible. You know? I'm going to show you another video. Just a quick 4 minutes. And this guy, Gerald Celente, this guy always talks about the downfall of America financially, you know? So this guy, he knows his stuff, man.
Just 3 days left in 2009. Time to look at the trends that could impact all of our lives in 2010. My next guest is Gerald Celente. He is director and founder of the Trends Research Institute, the perfect guy to have. And he prides himself on a strong track record of accurate predictions which help his corporate clients make critical decisions.
Of America financially, you know? So this guy, he knows his stuff, man.
Just 3 days left in 2009. Time to look at the trends that could impact all of our lives in 2010. My next guest is Gerald Celente. He is director and founder of the Trends Research Institute, the perfect guy to have. And he prides himself on a strong track record of accurate predictions which help his corporate clients make critical decisions. His company has a list of the top trends of 2010. Jerry, let's start with, well, first of all, Panic of 2008. You were spot on in the Panic of 2008. You talk about the crash of 2010. What's that about?
Well, all this bailout and stimulus is going to be running out. We had the cash for clunkers. We've had all this real estate boost with the tax credits. We've had the stimulus. We had TARP. The money chain is running out. It's global, by the way. $5.5 trillion worth of money has been dumped into the system to pump it up after the market collapsed in March of 2009.
So after that money's spent, you think we're going to go right back to where we were?
Going back to where we were, and worse, because now you have all this debt piled on top of it. You can't print phantom money out of thin air, backed by nothing and producing practically nothing without
Well, you
destroying
pay for it
the
with inflation.
Exactly.
So how much
Or
inflation are you gonna
devaluation.
have? Or
Maybe devaluation.
The same thing. It has the same effect on the
Exactly.
currency. It means we are going to be, the money we have in our pocket will buy a lot less.
You got it.
So how much less? How about, are you
It
talking
could be
hyperinflation, 1,000% a year?
Maybe start at 40% less.
40%.
That's what
Wow.
we're looking at.
Well, what is that going to lead to in our society?
The greatest depression that's coming along the line. Go back to the Great Depression. I'll tell you why it's worse. Back then, the government had trade surpluses. We had balanced trade. We didn't have negative. We were in the positive. The consumer wasn't $14 trillion worth of debt. It's a whole different story. And back then, when we got out of the Depression, what got us out? World War II, a manufacturing capacity. We don't have that anymore.
Productivity right now is so much greater, infinitely greater than it was back then in terms of what computers can do. We're not going to have a dust bowl because we have the GPS systems that allow farmers to farm in the right way and everything.
We don't have the productive capacity. We were a manufacturing giant back then. Now everything is coming from somewhere else. So we rebuilt the world during the war and after the war.
But that's only a problem if we have protectionism, which you say we are going to start to have.
It's already happening. We see tariffs on Chinese tires, on tubing. Over 200 trade barriers have been put up around the world. As economies decline, trade barriers are going to go up. Not made in China is going to become a mantra in the not-too-distant
So
future.
we're going to have the kind of protectionist barriers that, because we don't have a manufacturing base anymore in the United States, are going to lead to shortages, terrible shortages here in the United States.
That could very well happen.
Now, what about immigration? You suggest that we're going to have immigration problems as well as the unemployment goes even higher than 10%.
Again, a global issue, whether it's Italy, Spain, you name the country, the U.S., here's the numbers. It took 100,000 years to put 1.5 billion people on the planet in 1900. We've added 5 billion people. So during times of economic boom, you bring in cheap labor. Now it's economic bust. They want the labor to go home. So you're going to see anti-immigration become a major political issue worldwide in the developed nations, and also the genesis of a new third party in America.
Which party will that be?
We don't have
The
a name for it.
anti-immigrant party or
No,
what?
it's going to have a number of. We saw it with the tax protests. That's another element of the.
That's a libertarian movement, not necessarily affiliated, though, with the anti-immigration sentiment.
It's, again, there's many different elements tied into it. It's anti-immigration, it's protectionism, It's against big corporate. It's against foreign entanglements. It's against the Fed. It's against taxation without representation.
So we are going to have a real third party that is going to be a contender with the Republicans and the
We
Democrats.
believe so. And just for a little track record, I came out with a book, Trend Tracking, back in 1988. I forecast a new third party, and for some reason I mentioned Ross Perot. We're looking at that same kind of atmosphere, but juiced up to a much higher level. And now the